No turai kioro kokoria sino no koria kioro kioria kietoko soria kietoko sorakia tekora tekiana kokonaka. Thank you. Amazes. That's what they just gave to me. There's been a little bit of a theme of the labyrinth. A labyrinth is similar to a maze, only it's constructed in such a way that it's a single path. So the thing about a labyrinth is you might feel like you're in a maze and that you're turning this way and that, and you swear you've been here before, but you're only a step over, or sometimes you just can't see where you're going and it's dark, but you just have to keep walking. And the thing about a maze is there are all these choices that lead you to dead ends. But it's being reinforced to me that we're not in a maze. We're in a labyrinth. There is only one path, and you can never be off your path. And when it feels like we're off our path, it's just because we're in a part of the labyrinth that is difficult for whatever reason. I feel like I'm in a hospital robe and I'm very uncomfortable, which is interesting because it's a very comfortable dress, but it's like it feels too big for me. Maybe that's part of the message. Maybe that's to do with the political climate at the moment, because even if you don't look into the politics of what's happening in the world, you will feel it. And what happens on a large scale always happens to us on a smaller personal scale. So I personally don't put my attention into the politics because there are so many ways to be deflected, right? To be blindsided and to put your energy and anger, and I will never tell you not to feel your feelings. If you feel feelings, you must honor them. Otherwise, you're going to internalize them and they are going to come out at the most inappropriate times and cause havoc in your life. Spiritual bypassing is not the way as far as I'm concerned. You do you. Holding Back the Years by Simply Red is a song that came into my head today. So if you're not familiar with that song, I suggest that you pause and go listen and come back, or listen afterwards. It's basically, I'll keep holding on. It's holding on to the old and kind of regret. Like your rose-colored glasses are just as thick as fish bowls and you can't see clearly through them, or maybe you can see clearly through them, 555. But maybe others can't see you because you're hiding behind them. Ayawariano ko sayaneki tiana kuturiana kiatuko tukuriana kikiki. So I'm struggling with myself right now because everything is coming out of order. It's all fractured. But everything is as it's supposed to be. We knew, we've been told, if we don't remember, many, many times that things were going to get worse before they get better. So, political climate aside, in my personal life, I'll probably share a short of my daughter's birthday candles going haywire. It's just a beautiful demonstration of what the beginning of Scorpio season has been like for me. Very difficult, very stressful. Really having to surrender to the shadow, which has been very difficult for the mind and the ego. Like normally I would eat 97 to 99% purely vegan, fresh food and dried beans, lentils. And then other things that I would eat were still quite clean versions of any sort of processed food. And I've been like that for at least 4 years. And that has served me very, very well. Healing my very broken body, building trust with my body, learning what it likes. And then suddenly it flips like a switch, which I think is a part of an ego death. Because my ego had hooked so strongly onto needing to be so that I can't fall back into needing surgery again. I would never choose to have a surgery that it wasn't going to save my life ever. I'm not judging, but I don't understand how people could. So there's been this fear behind 911, Archangel Michael, this fear behind my need to be healthy physically, mentally, emotionally, because they all tie in together. Our emotions create illness if we don't deal with them. But equally, what we put into our bodies feeds bad emotions, feeds masks, feeds entities, all that sort of thing. So to suddenly, after having been vegan for all those years and having done very well on it, to be only eating bacon, which isn't healthy in anyone's guidebook, especially not for the pig, and chocolate. That's pretty much 90% of what I've eaten in a week. And considering that, my body has done very well. And when I try to eat healthy food, I can't stomach it. Having to really trust myself, to trust my body, even though it's messing with my mind and my ego. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make logical sense. That's a test in itself. To follow what you need. Like, I guess I'm okay with eating animals if that's what I truly need. But when we put our wants before another's needs, that makes me sad. Yeah, so we've been balancing the heart and the shadow work. And understanding your shadow helps you understand your full self, becoming whole. Magpie symbolism, respecting the light and the dark, and allowing the dark. Just allowing myself to be in a down mood. Just allowing myself to not feel great. How else do we alchemize? How else do we turn lead into gold if we will not touch the lead? How? You must experience the lead to turn it into gold. And so for me as an alchemist, I take on energies, they play out in what looks like a small way in my life. It doesn't feel like it, but it looks very small compared to what the rest of the world's going through, in order to alchemize. So I feel like that sounded like a relief to somebody, that because I used to really beat myself up for feeling the depth of emotions that I did. There's a flying ant and a spider. For feeling the depth of emotions that I did. Like I wasn't thankful enough, I wasn't grateful enough, what's wrong with me. Then when I'm coming into a reading, bear with me, when I'm coming into a reading, I want to separate it. Oh, is this a career reading? Is this a love reading? Is this a guidance? You know, other people can do that. That's not the way it works for me, because nothing is actually separate. What you can watch a love reading and know that it is about the masculine, the feminine within, the light and the dark, blah, blah, blah. And when I was in my room looking for what to bring in, I looked at my diary. I was like, do I need that? Probably not. There's too much information. It would just confuse me. And then door closed, window closed, no breeze. The pages started flipping by themselves, and it brought me back to this page. So I've journaled bits and pieces of what happened while I was out today. So, and it just reinforces the messages that I've been getting, and I think it aligns with the astrology. I'm not very good with astrology. That in a couple of weeks there's going to be some kind of storm that can play out completely differently for different people depending on where you are in all aspects of your life. So don't even try and figure out what that's going to be. Just let God surprise you. So we went to a car wash, and we were all dressed in our decent going out clothes. The kids wanted to get out and clean the car with the pressure hoses because it's fun, and I didn't want to go through the automatic because I didn't want to get dirty, right? And so the car wash that we were going to, one lane was broken down. There's a line of cars. We're waiting in line. The other one broke down, but I couldn't reverse out because there was some behind me. Eventually they reversed out. We went to the other car wash, and then we still had to wait. And then when we were there, the signs were Mr. Magic Storm, Merlin, Wizard, Aztec, and sevens and ones, like in a number, sevens and ones. The song The Holy Grail by Hunters and Collectors. And the parts of that I wrote out were seeking fortune and glory and pillaging. So on our way to the Holy Grail, and really think about what the Holy Grail means. What does that mean to you? There's 911 again. Michael in the house. I'm thinking of the Michael and the Mary lines going through Glastonbury tour. I think they converged there. So this is, Merlin. I just heard Avebury tour or something. I'm not sure. They just said aligning matrices. So you might be doing grid work. Let me know if you are. Avalon, that's the word I was trying to think of. There's a whole kind of Avalon side of things, which to me kind of merges from, Christ and Mary and all that. So seeking fortune and glory and pillaging. When you're seeking fortune and glory, I'm not saying it's wrong to seek fortune and glory. Some people definitely are going through lives where they need these paths of validation for their soul's journey. But if you're with me, this is the life, this is the point where we're pulling out all the pins. I'm seeing all these. I think there was a game or something where you have the like straws or pins or something, and you'd pull them out, and then eventually, I don't know, balls or something would fall through. You're pulling this all out so that everything can flow. Yeah, they're saying receding. We're receding in a way, the return to innocence. Pulling back the layers of masks of identities and of egos. And it's very easy to take on new ones which seem old and are probably true, like, you know, starseed and all that. 2222. But all these stories still seem ancillary to the life that you're living now. And the life that you're living now might seem humble, might not seem as adventurous and as wild as all of these other lifetimes or stories. But if you were truly back in those times, there were mundane, there was grind, there was self-doubt, there was the battle with the ego, there was the battle with other, there was excess and there was famine and there was all of it. When I'm writing a book, I'm not writing my characters every moment. We only write what's relevant to the story. But if we were actually living that character's life, there's a lot of boredom in there. There's a lot of untold moments. And they're really drawing attention to my wings, the angel wings this time. And they're saying there's beauty in the untold moments. The untold moments, the quiet moments, the mundane moments, they're where we truly do the alchemizing. They're where we truly do the work. When we seek heights of needing to gamble or to thrill seek or to travel or to eat or to have sex or whatever, to feel an emptiness that is outside of self. When we're in the mundane moment, that is when we are with ourselves, if we're not distracting ourselves. I love you too. So, is there more for me to say? So with the song, The Holy Grail by the Hunters and Collectors, and later on it goes on to say, oh, I've been searching for an easy way to escape the cold light of day. I've been high and I've been low, but I got nowhere else to go. And then that reminded me of the Labyrinth. And your path may be winding, but you never got lost. You can never get lost unless you stop. It's okay to pause. It's okay to have a break. 555. I think when we pause, when we go stagnant, is when we're off our path. That's when it feels like we're out of alignment. And always come back in the faith. I become stagnant quite often. But I always come back to faith that it's for a reason, as part of the experience. 26. So when I was at the library, repeating words in the titles of the books that I could see from where I sat while I was waiting for my kids to pick out books was light, spot, bear, and references to grandparents. And then later on there were Venus shells, owl, Athena, hare, flamingo, and the greatest game, ace of clubs, a padlock, a wand, a vial with the queen's crown on it, a chain, an amulet, eternity symbol, dice, and CWP gaming tiles. And then there was cherries and coffee with friends, or essential perks, so a friend's reference. And then they were showing me the labyrinth and the tree of life and the brain hemispheres. This labyrinth isn't a very good example of it, but some labyrinths aren't so linear, especially the ones that are created with rocks and on the earth. They look much more like the brain. And they were showing me how we go through this kind of winding path, and we feel like we're building. We kind of go backwards and forwards a bit, but we're building to something. And then suddenly we're down again. And then we build ourselves back up. And then suddenly we're down again. But that clears the channels. There's been times in our lives where we're much more in our feminine, receptive mode, and other times when we're much more in our masculine, active mode. And we are taught to only be in our masculine, but if that's really out of alignment with you, you will manifest injury or illness so that you have to be still. I have done so. I wasn't awake at the time. I don't blame myself. What have we here? What have we here? Okay. So these cards are just like quotes and songs and things that I've written out. Okay. It's asking which ones. Okay, this one says, are you thinking for yourself? It's okay to explore concepts, but how do they make you feel? Does it resonate? Does it feel like your soul's truth? Even the wisest of teachers are fallible. Your truth is personal and unique. And I'm pretty sure I just wrote that. This is on purpose. And I'm only being guided to read the second side of it. Now is the time for inward reflection, rest, and secrecy. While your confidants are trustworthy, we require as little attention as possible on you. We don't want others clouding your judgment. You must rely on your inner knowing. Is this reading just for me? No. Okay. Just checking. Okay. And I'm hearing, and I've got nowhere else to go from the Holy Grail, just going over and over and in my head. Like, I don't consciously see energy very much at all, but I see energy. My eyes are still drawn to the energy, so I know what part of a person is activated when I'm speaking to them. So like I might be drawn here, so I might be looking at someone's chest here, even if they don't have an amulet, that's the second reference to an amulet. Even if they don't have jewelry on, I will see this part here, and this is the higher heart. So I know that I'm activating their higher heart. Also, sometimes my eyes will be drawn. I think of a particular time, and my eyes were drawn to somebody's abdomen, and they're quite overweight man, and I wasn't trying to pry, but I was just drawn to the energy. Like, I couldn't see it, but I know that there was a vortex of energy there, and I was like, what is this about? And I was just told progesterone. And when I looked up progesterone in male obesity, it is actually a factor. But I didn't feel like the next time that I saw them, I was prepared to, but I didn't feel like they would be open to me saying so. And I do tend to err on the side of caution. So then I was becoming anxious, and it's probably the ego. I'm not trying to beat up on the ego. That maybe I didn't do my job. I didn't give them the message. So I said, I'm going to leave this. If I need to tell this person, bring the opportunity around 3333 and make it clear. Because other times I just say what I need to say. So second guessing yourself is ego. And that's just the ego trying to protect. Why am I shuffling these? So these cards I had pulled for myself the other day, probably yesterday or the day before. And when I went to get stuff for this reading, they said it's already perfect, but we're shuffling. Everything is in divine order. Is this the order you want me to read them in? No? Okay. So this card, this is from Rebecca, one of Rebecca Campbell's decks. It says, break the chain, ancestral patterns, healing, rewriting the future. I love you too. And I've got these upside down. I'm just feeling the energy. This one, woo! And they want that one upside down, and it actually came out upside down for that reading. The right way up, it says play, have fun, celebrate, don't be so serious. And I've definitely had to relax with you know, my diet and things. And so this is the image inverted. Okay, apparently they just want my lips showing. I'm not sure why. But they said a healing vortex of energy. Okay, with the voice, I suppose. Don't say I'm not the man who adores you. And then the ever unfolding rose cracked open is happening for you, not to you. Because I was really, really worried about this food thing. Really worried. I don't want to become ill again. I work so hard to regain my health, to stop walking with a stick, to stop having to depend on other people so much. We still need people. And then we've got the Great Gathering. It's all coming together, intuitive hits and soul tribe, and that was inverted as well. And that was inverted when I pulled it before. This one. And then soul family, call in your tribe. You don't have to do it alone. Pleiadian energy. And so I asked God to bring me my soul tribe, and the next day I was somewhere that I go regularly. It's a business. And while I was there, the song I'm one with all of my people by the Presets came on, and I almost burst out laughing because I was just like, yeah, these are my people. So it's not always that our soul tribe are going to be our besties. Sometimes they're out living their own lives, and we have these interactions with these different businesses and share our like codes there. And yeah, and I actually ended up sharing some of my gifts that day as well at that place, so that was nice. And I was just holding these cards out, like I felt like I was like, you pick which one. So this one's align your life. What is not aligned or needs to change? Soul fragments. The higher self, the smaller self, the shadow self, inner child. So during this week-long process of filling my body with crap and quite enjoying it, but feeling well for it, I must need it for some reason. It occurred to me that I felt very much like a younger version of myself, probably a version that I was not happy, but I hated myself. But she's a higher version of me in some ways because she created passionately. And I haven't been. I have the facilities to create many things physically and to write books, and I haven't been creating. I haven't felt like it. Quite often because I feel like that I always used to create in a lower frequency, and I don't want to be there. And that's a judgment, right? So that might resonate with somebody. And then we have trust your path. If you knew you would be supported, what would you do? And that's that one. I usually don't like the images on these cards, but they feel beautiful today. And then this is the Priestess. How you've been called to step up and lead. When I saw it the first time, it really reminded me of Carrie Fisher, like Princess Leia. So maybe those of you who have watched Star Wars as adults, not just as children, would have a better idea of what Leia's role was. I can hear someone screaming at me. I've watched it a lot, but it was when I was a child, so I didn't have the recall for that. I'm hearing Isis and Ishtar. I'm seeing the lines, so is that Sekhmet in my art? The lion races. I'm hearing Pleiadian. I'm really noticing her collar here. It's like the collar of a fool. The collar of the fool. The fool in the high heart and the throat chakra. So the fool is in the tarot is the best card in the tarot because it's the beginner's journey. As bright-eyed, bushy-tailed. I think I'm prepared because I've got a tiny little sack over my shoulder. I've got my puppy dog with me. Everything's fine. I'm about to step off a cliff and I've got no idea. I'm about to step into an adventure. For any being that has had any experience has had enough experience to know the way of the universe knows that that is an enviable position. So if you are at the beginning of any journey, be thankful for it, even though it's scary, you can't see ahead. And be really, really wary of any kind of divination, as in tarot or charm readings or anything that are predicting what's going to come next. I know I mentioned things that are boiling in the energies, but they're raising a bridge to divine alignment. But it's like in this labyrinth, right? If you are in a labyrinth that is walls or shrubbery, Monty Python shrubbery, that is hedges, hedgerows, then you can't see where your path's leading until you get to the next corner, and then you can only see a few steps ahead. Someone's name is Bryant. Bryant keeps, it's written on it's Bryant and May, but Bryant keeps on really catching my eye. Okay. The only way to stop the call is to answer it, and that's actually from Rebecca Campbell's video. And this is this one. It's two-sided. This one, okay. These are meditation prompts, so inspired by Eckhart Tolle. Do you consider the present moment to be an obstacle which you need to get past? Do you consider the present moment to be an obstacle which you need to get past? And that was the theme of this whole ramble. You're on the path, you can't see ahead, you're not supposed to. I used to plan meticulously, and then I gave up because variables, usually other people, would get in the way of my plans. And stressing myself out that things didn't go according to plan just meant that I didn't enjoy myself. Now my party planning is very minimal. Usually involves food, decorations, and inviting people. I don't have anything planned out. People make fun for themselves. Release the stranglehold is what I heard. And I'm feeling like this clenching in the heart. The need for control is a symptom of fear. And fear is being out of alignment with faith. My motto for a long time, which has helped me greatly, has been, I trust my soul, I trust my Creator. Thank you. So, I feel like I should leave it there, but I just want to read that meditation prompt again. Do you consider the present moment to be an obstacle which you need to get past? Why? I love you. Bye, darling.